This is the big Overwatch balance patch, which is going to fix Roadhog and fix Sojourn, or at least that's what the developers are hoping. Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. This is the giant, or it's not really that giant, but it is a meta shake-up patch for the end of this season of Overwatch. So it's the end of Season 2. Kind of, I guess we could call this the pre-Season 3 patch, but of course we do expect to get another patch at the start of Season 3 with even more comprehensive changes. So let's break all of this down. So what Blizzard is trying to address here are some, well, major balance concerns that everybody has had for literally weeks and weeks and weeks at this point. We've got Roadhog being completely dominating in the game, being super frustrating to play against, just a completely broken hero. We've got Sojourn, when she's got a Mercy damage boost, just being absolutely unstoppable. She could charge a Railgun too fast. It does too much damage, especially when she's being damage boosted by Mercy. We've also got Orisa starting to rise in the game. I mean, if I'm totally honest, Orisa's been really strong for a long time now, but I think she's been overshadowed by Roadhog, and now Roadhog is going to get a bit of a nerf. We're probably going to see Orisa become public enemy number 1. Also, there is a change to Kiriko as well in these patch notes. Okay, so without further ado, let's break these down. Today's video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends, and it is time to vote for your favorite starter champion and win prizes. Step 1, download Raid Shadow Legends from the links in the video description below. Step 2, log into championselect.plarium.com, copy your in-game player ID, then go to championselect.plarium.com, simply enter your player ID and then vote for your chosen champion. That's all there is to it. This vote runs from January the 16th to February the 10th, with all eligible entrants being in with an opportunity to win awesome in-game and real-life prizes, including epic and legendary champions, in-game items, and even an Amazon gift card worth up to $1,000. Only new players from the US can win prizes. Don't worry if you're an existing Raid player, you can still get involved. Just head to championselect.plarium.com, where you can find a special promo code that everyone can use for a small in-game gift. Raid's got something extra special happening right now. They've released a legendary champion based off MMA and pro wrestling legend Ronda Rousey. Yes, the Ronda Rousey. You can get Ronda Rousey for free right now, whether you're a new or long-time player, just by logging into Raid. All you've got to do is log into Raid and play for 7 days between now and February the 20th, and Ronda's yours. That's all there is to it. And if you haven't started playing Raid yet, then click my link in the video description or scan my QR code here on the screen. You'll get unique bonuses worth $35. We're talking a free epic champion Jotun, 100,000 silver, 50 gems, and 2 epic skill tomes. All this treasure will be waiting for you here, available for 30 days for new players only. Thank you once again to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. Let's begin with Orisa. So there is a minor change here to Orisa's survivability. Fortify health bonus has been reduced from 125 to 75. That is a reduction of 50 extra health. Now, the issue with Orisa is Orisa has tools at her disposal for keeping herself alive. She can do a spear spin, a javelin spin in your face, delete your projectiles, and also she can go gold, which of course that's what Fortify is, or we just call it gold. It's kind of easier, I suppose. But yeah, she's going to use Fortify, isn't she? So she uses Fortify, and then she uses spear spin. There's a few seconds of downtime, then she's back into Fortify, back into spear spin, and this is kind of the way it goes with Orisa. She's very hard to kill, so Blizzard are trying to address that to make her a little bit easier to counter, because there should be a noticeable window of opportunity to kill the Orisa, and at the moment that's when she's not spear spinning and she's not gold. Then you can shoot her. If she's either or of the two previous states I just explained, then you don't want to shoot her because you're never going to kill her. It's absolutely ridiculous. So what they're doing is making gold or Fortify less effective, so you can burn through this a little bit easier, but it's still going to be pretty good, because her being able to just give herself 75 health, pretty good. And also remember, Fortify does other things as well. It reduces incoming damage, it reduces the charge buildup. What's it called? The overheat. Reduces you can basically fire your gun more. It doesn't overheat as much when you've got Fortify active. So yeah, Orisa, she's probably going to become public enemy number 1, and I don't think this is going to be enough, but I expect to see more Orisa changes going into Season 3. Roadhog. Okay, this is the big one. This is what everybody has been waiting for. And now, if you guys remember the breakdown I did of the NME Aaron Keller interview, he actually said that, yeah, you know, we need to make more I'm ad-libbing here a little bit, but he basically says we want to make elegant changes to the heroes. We don't just want to drop numbers down because that's sort of an easy thing to do. We want to make sure the hero change is going to work for the game, yada, yada, yada. So these Roadhog changes are basically just turning down numbers. There's no, like, massive change here. Surely this could have been done weeks ago. Anyway, I digress. So, chain hook. Impact damage reduced from 30 to 5. That is a massive reduction, because this is going to nuke his one-shot ability on a lot of heroes, because you chain hook them, you're only doing 5 damage. You pull them into you, and then you know you can do the rest of the combo. But all that's affected as well, as you'll see in a second. The enemy final position distance from Roadhog after being pulled is increased from 3 to 4 meters, so he doesn't pull you as close. Now, this actually means it's a little bit harder for Roadhog to land all of his pellets from his primary fire onto you. But there is a little caveat here. It also means that Roadhog needs to aim at your head. If he's going to pull you in, he needs to aim at your crit box, not just fire into your body. Because before, it hit you with a hook, it does 30 damage, it pulls you in, primary fires into you, which does more damage. As you'll see in a second, Scrap Gun has been pretty heavily nerfed. So, yeah, I mean, this reduces his one-shot ability, but you've still got the option to go for the head. It's just going to be harder to pull off, which is, I think, how it should be. Anyway, this is Scrap Gun. So, damage per pellet reduced from 6.6 to 6. Now, remember, he fires quite a lot of pellets out of his gun, so this is pretty heavy nerf. Recovery time reduced from 0.85 to 8 seconds, so it's a bit of a little sort of offset buff there. Reload time reduced from 2 to 1.75 seconds. Again, these little offset buffs that they like to do. And maximum ammo increased from 5 to 6. So, before we read the developer comments off, essentially what they're doing here is just reduce the damage he does, but let him fire a little bit faster, in the sense of he can reload quicker and he's got reduced recovery time in between shots. But he's not going to be able to one-shot people guaranteed when he hooks them in anymore with the hook, primary fire and melee combo, unless he headshots. But this is what the developers say. These changes aim to reduce the frustration of dying in one shot immediately after being hooked and pulled by Roadhog. Chain hook is still a powerful ability, a powerful utility to forcibly reposition enemy players, so it will often lead to eliminations. Its effectiveness will now be more dependent on specific hero matchups and how the hook target is able to respond. And that's the key thing there. The hook target can actually respond in this change. You're not just dead. It's not like, well, I guess I'm dead. It's like you're hooked in. You're going to take damage, but it's going to be up to you now to do something. Maybe you can use a movement ability to get away. Yeah, instead of relying on like Zarya to bubble you or Anna to somehow put Hog to sleep before he kills you with his combo, or for like massive amounts of healing to be poured into you, or Kiriko, Suzu is thrown onto you, or Lamp is thrown onto you. Basically, this gives you a little bit more agency as the player getting hooked to kind of deal with it. So you've been hooked, yeah, you're in a bad position, you've been hooked, but now you can still kind of react, you're not dead. And of course, you're not always in a bad position. Roadhog just throws a hook into your team and then you die, which this is trying to reduce. So on the face of it, after looking at these patch notes, I think this is decent and it's a good place to start, but I'm still really perplexed why this has taken so much time to implement, because it's just stats changes. You could have done this at any time, surely. I don't know. Maybe they've been running through test simulations and all kinds of stuff trying to work out the details, but I just can't help but feel I would have still been grinding Overwatch comp if Roadhog wasn't as prevalent as he has been for like the last God knows how many weeks, you know what I mean? Ugh. Next up is Sojourn, and also in this there is a, can I call this a stealth mercy nerf? It is, but only with the interaction with Sojourn, and it's this is an elegant change, I will say that. Okay, so this are the details. Sojourn Railgun enemy gain energy gain is no longer based on damage done by primary fire. Each primary fire hit against an enemy player now grants 5 energy. Primary fire damage per projectile has been reduced from 9 to 10. So what does this do? Well, this is quite nice, because what this does is it means when you're getting damage boosted as Sojourn currently in the game, and you shoot, well, I say currently, this has changed now as you guys are watching this video, but you're just drilling people, shooting them with a damage boosted Sojourn, you get faster railgun charge because it was based on the damage that you were doing. Now it's not. It's only based on you hitting targets. So this removes the damage boost railgun charge buff you would get from being damage boosted. It's actually quite good. And what the devs say is the energy gain adjustment will help smooth out Sojourn's average railgun charge time, because it won't benefit as much from critical damage or damage boost abilities. Of course, yeah, that's the other component to this as well. You know, if you were critting, like, so if you were damage boosted and critting targets, it was like a double whammy of really rapid charge. Now that's been removed. It's actually really I think this is really good. Hitting armored targets or other sources of damage reduction will result in quicker energy gains than before, though, which I think is pretty cool. Previously, damage boosts and critical damage had an amplified effect for Sojourn since it reduced the time to build energy and lowered the threshold at which her Railgun's secondary fire became lethal. The reduction to primary fire will further slow that down as well. So yeah, that's the Sojourn change. Again, I think this is pretty good, but we're going to need to see how this plays out in the game, because if she's charging faster off targets with armor, it might be a case of you can still spam the tanks or anybody with armor and then still railgun people in the back. This is going to take testing, but I do think this is actually kind of cool because it still retains Sojourn's identity of, yeah, you do have this very powerful, very lethal alternate fire, but now you won't have it as often. But will it be enough? This is going to be the big question. Will it be enough? It's hard to say at the moment, but at least they're looking at it. And what I do like here is they've nerfed the damage boost from Mercy without actually nerfing Mercy. So damage boost still stays the same. So this is a really cool change, actually. Nice one, Blizzard. Then we move on to Kiriko and healing a Fuda. So recovery time is increased from 0.85 to 1 second. This is what the devs say. Despite Kiriko's healing projectiles being slow-moving and single target, her average healing output per match is higher than we'd like. We've seen players tend to get overly focused on maximizing her healing potential and only use primary fire for extended periods of time, rather than reduce the amount of healing per projectile, which may lead to feeling locked into focusing on primary fire even more. We're increasing the recovery time before she can start firing the healing Afuda. Increasing recovery times opens the opportunity to weave in secondary fire kunai more freely. Right, so, okay, it's a Kiriko nerf. This is where I'm a little bit confused, because I don't think this is particularly something that we needed at the moment. This looks to me like a change. Again, Blizzard reading into their stats, looking at all their vast stats on the player base and going, well, Kiriko's doing too much healing here. We need to change this. Yet nobody really actually gives a damn about that. We don't care. We will do in the future, but no one really cares about this. When you look at the game, I reckon, you know, I'm going to say this because I'm a content creator, but I think they need to be a bit more emotional with the changes they make to the game. So there you go. Those are the changes that are in this patch, this end of season sort of mini balance patch. Although I think this is going to do quite a lot to Roadhog and to Sojourn, although we're going to have to wait and see how this pans out. But what I will say is the Orisa changes, that's just the tip of the iceberg. There will definitely be more changes coming to Orisa. But then, like, for me, the Kiriko thing, okay, it's fine. It's not really amazing. It's not like, I don't think this was particularly needed as such at this moment in time when there's other issues in the game. You know, things like, look at Junkrat's power level. Pretty ridiculous right now. Maybe they could look at some sort of nerf to Junkrat, whether that's reducing the amount of concussion mines he's got available or something like that. I don't know. But Junkrat is quite oppressive to play against. You look at a Widowmaker, just killing everyone from across the map. Very hard to stop. 5v5 makes it easier basically do what she needs to do. Prevalence of certain tanks with your Roadhog, with your Orisa, means that generally the Widow can sort of do what she likes. Whereas obviously if she was against a Winston or a D.Va, for example, then she might get caught out more. And by the way, I do think D.Va actually is a little bit stronger than people are giving her credit for. She could be the tank that almost replaces Roadhog in a way. I think we're going to see Orisa. Don't get me wrong. She's going to be the go-to tank. But D.Va might be a little bit as an outlier, I think. I think she's almost stealth S tier in a lot of ways. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. In terms of videos on the channel, again, I'm going to apologize, guys, because I look at the channel and I think to myself, I should be making more videos. And I will make more videos, don't worry about that. But what is going to happen is I'm going to try and bring back a bit of Overanalyzed and see how you guys react to it. Bring back a bit of the Bronze Heroes, which basically is, it's like a spectating Bronze series, but we did it years and years ago. Bring that back maybe in a fun way. And try some other bits and pieces as well. Because I'm really frustrated. Like, I want to make content on this game, but I'm getting really frustrated because I'm finding it like, it's a bit doomer, isn't it? Like, when you look at the stuff going on with Overwatch, it's like, oh, well. I mean, look at the recent stuff. The game's literally been banned in China. Blizzard couldn't agree terms for a distributor or a publishing partner in China, which is the law in China, to have your game playable there. And so the games, all Blizzard games, are just not available in China. Well, what about these Overwatch League teams? What happens to them? The Chinese Overwatch? It's crazy, right? You know, oh dear, it is just a disaster. Anyway, thank you for listening and watching the video, guys. I've been Stylosa, and I'll catch you lovely lot on the next one. See you soon.